It looks so, what's the word? Bright in here. Like it's daytime. But then if I do that, then it looks like nighttime. It's nighttime, the crickets are doing their thing. Everything's happening. It is Friday, January 6th. It's the Epiphany. It's 2023. And it is display and share or displaced and share. Let me see who's here. Let me go public really fast. Kimberly. Oh, hold on one second. Let me just read this. Okay. I'm just starting my live stream, period. I do it every day at 11:11 a.m. and 11:11 p.m. I will reach out to you when I'm done, period. Unless you want to come check out the show, you can go to my page. Jenna Mammina. Super interested. Then I'll be able to do something on display and share. Okay, back to, I gotta work. Hey, Carl Hess, I'm going public. I'm editing the privacy. I'm going public. There, I'm doing my job. Change the audience. Changes. And I'm going to do this other thing real quick. Thank you. Displaced and share. Tomorrow morning, no Jeff Metzger. Next Saturday, no Jeff Metzger, because Jeff Metzger's he's doing something. I don't know what, but that's cool. I'm all cool with it. So if you want to come on tomorrow, come on. And if you don't, that's okay. Tomorrow night, what's his name again? Gary Lambert. One More Saturday Night with Gary Lambert is tomorrow night, and Sunday morning is whatever we make it. And Sunday night is shoe night. Get a pair of shoes, boots, tennis shoes, leather shoes, sandals, whatever is a special pair that you have, and tell us the story about those shoes. And then Monday morning we do movement, and Monday night we do joke night. And Tuesday morning we do whatever, and Tuesday night we do whatever, and Wednesday morning we'll do more movement, and Wednesday night, not sure yet. I'm not sure yet because I'm not sure where I'm going to be. But if I'm here, it's community night. And then Thursday morning, sometimes Michael Keel, sometimes it's your sister's 64th birthday, which was yesterday. And then last night, fun stuff happens. And then today, if you didn't see today's show, which was Armando and Jenna from January 22nd, 2022, or 21st from 2022. It's a beautiful show. And it's pretty intense. And I'm grateful that it happened. And I'm grateful that he is working so hard to feel as good as he did that day. I see it. And it was just a lovely show. So if you're around and you can go back and check that out, I'd say it's kind of a cool show to check out. It's a really cool show to check out. But right now, something even equally as cool. I have something always to share on display and share on Friday nights. Oh, I'll share this. My friend Corinne gave me this pillowcase. I love this pillowcase. Woo! I'm going to give this pillowcase and Corinne a standing ovation. Isn't it pretty? It has this other, not so cute pillow inside, but I have this cool pillowcase and it goes right there. But even cooler, we have a guest tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, live from Brooklyn, it is my friend, so underdressed. I have on my father's best flannel. And
My
you're
mom got me this velvety kind of jacket slash shirt eons ago, and it covers up a myriad of sins.
it's beautiful. I love it. Here, let me put some lipstick on at least. What's going on?
Just finished up working and just getting ready for the rest of the weekend, I guess. I don't know. It's like everything's been so strange lately. I'm sort of trying to find new habits and new routines and different things,
Yeah.
to do with myself and stuff. So
Well, you've had quite a whirlwind. My mom is here. Melanie Demore is here. So let's see. My mom is in Southwest Michigan. Melanie Demore is in the 510 in Oakland. Carl is in Southwest Michigan. Judith Zweiman.
yep,
Where is Judith? Judith, where are you?
Queens.
Queens. Who had Caposios in the 80s? Caposios had the Caposios. Love the shirt. I do. And Heather Ellicott says, way past my bedtime, but I had to pop on to say hi to Sarah.
Aw.
And Judith again.
Also friend of Beth's.
So wait. She said I did. Wait, who gave you that beautiful velvet? Did Judith give that to you?
No, my mother did. It's from like
Is it
Coldwater Creek. Yes.
Coldwater Creek? Oh, Judith is in downtown Flushing. She's Flushing. Cool. It's Caposios. There's Caposios and there's Caposios. Caposios is in Southwest Michigan. Lenny Caposio, I think, started it in the 60s, Carl, and then had it up until he left the planet. And then Joey took it over for a while, and then Joey sees, and then Teresa started her own place. Lisa Lee says, you look beautiful, Sarah, and your friend looks kind of like, what's she doing in her lumberjack shirt? This is my dad's. This is my dad's. Really cool. This thing's like 40 years old. Capizio jazz shoes for sure. So you're in Brooklyn.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm in Little Caribbean or Little Haiti. It's like right on the cusp.
Okay, and what
It's also called Prospect Lefferts Gardens, which I'd never heard of until.
Say that again.
Prospect Lefferts Gardens.
Lefferts. I haven't heard that one.
Lefferts. Apparently, it's a big family in the Brooklyn, Queens area.
Really? Lefferts.
Yeah, you see Lefferts, all over, kind of like Kosciuszko or Kosciuszko, however you pronounce it, Kosciuszko Bridge.
Kosciuszko.
Yeah, there's kind of New York names that are like Stuyvesant.
Like Capizios. Rob Morocco's here. Yep. Judith is like, yep. Rob Morocco's in Canada, so we have Canada on too. This is so
international.
Cool. I know it happens. It's Friday nights is displaced and share, as in CHER. Share. She's my spirit animal, my main spirit animal. So
another Armenian.
Yeah. And her mom actually just left the planet last week or week before, I think. Yeah. Lefferts Boulevard, Judith said. So who's Judith?
Judith is a folk musician of amazing talent.
Judith, we need to get together and hang.
You and Judith, you and Jenna need to get to know one another.
And Lisa Lee
is my father's cousin's daughter. So I don't know if that's a second cousin.
Father's, let's figure it out. Say it again.
Father. My father's cousin was Betty, which is Lisa's mother, and Lisa is Betty's daughter. So I don't know if it's my father's second cousin or my cousin once removed, or I don't know how it works. I have no idea how those work.
Once removed, it's not. It might be a third cousin, but second cousin. Judith insists it's a second cousin.
Oh. She's probably way more up on this than I am. So I would go with what she has to say.
She's in Iowa?
Yes.
Wow.
Des Moines.
Was your father from Iowa?
No, he was from Missouri. He was from Canesville, Lone Star, Martinsville. There's another one now. I can't remember the name, and I'm gonna shoot myself for not remembering it. But he came from these little farming communities where there was just nobody there out there. There was a bunch of farmers, and his father was the school superintendent, so he ran the school. And you know, they had no money to pay these communities. It was, I mean, Missouri was in a depression way before the depression actually started. It was really hard times out there. And my father, would describe being poor and how poor they were. I mean, and the true story is they did pay my grandfather with partially with cherry trees. He could have all the cherries off of the cherry trees and things, and a chit that he could turn in immediately for 50 cents. But if he waited, like, I don't know, 6 months or a year or whatever it was, for the whole dollar. So, I mean, they had just all kinds of things to try to get him. He lived in a converted schoolhouse. But my dad used to tell me stories about being super poor. And, as a kid, I was just, enraptured. And like, oh, and he said the only toy he had was a broken teacup on a string that he used to pull around in the dirt and make little tracks in there. And I bought this like hook, line, and sinker. I'm like, yeah, okay, because he would tell me stories about my Uncle Jim getting like the pair of overalls after he and his older brother got them and stuff. So I knew they were like literally dirt poor. And then I was 15 and we'd gone out to see Lisa's grandfather, Uncle Ray, and his second wife, Vivian. And he showed me my dad's old, kind of a car, a cast iron car and stuff. And he goes, oh, this was your dad. But it didn't click then. But my dad was driving me up to college, my freshman year of college. And all of a sudden it clicked to me that my dad had lied, that he actually did have a toy. So he's driving, I haul off and I'm like, whap, and I whacked him. And I go, you lied. He goes, but what? And I'm like, you lied that your only toy was a broken teacup on a string. And Uncle Ray showed me your car. And he was just so proud of himself that he got me for so long. He had a whole bunch of these little lies. And, later on, he had such an obvious tell. But I bought a couple of them. Like, he sent me this one picture. And when I was living in New Orleans of him in the Marine Corps, and a little post-it on the back. It was, here, this is a Paris Island, South Carolina. I am third from the right. And I looked at the picture, it's a real old picture. I'm like, wow, it looked exactly like my dad when he was young. And then one day the post-it fell off. It was like Mexican sharecroppers, 1895. I'm like, I just,
thinking about you. It was the thought.
Yes. So, but anytime you could pull something, it would do this. My friend Janice and I had come back from school and we went to visit my folks, and he's sitting in a chair and he says, oh, Janice, I'd get up except for the operation. And she's like, oh, Mr. Booth, I'm so sorry. Sarah didn't tell me. Because yes, I had 25 feet of bowel removed. And I went over and of course I whacked him, and she's like, Sarah, the operation. I'm like, he's lying. And she went over and whacked him. And he's just laughing. He's so proud of himself because he got her.
Good at spinning stories. He was good at spinning stories.
Oh, yeah. He loved telling stories. He really did.
One of my friends from junior high is here, Ernest Robinson. And do you know Bird Fab?
Yes. Roberto Fabiano, another musician.
Roberto Fabiano.
Yes.
We need to put a band, call it Sarah's Band. Sarah's Songs. Could do a band, Sarah's Songs.
There you go. I have
several. Where's Miss Fabiano?
She's out in Stony Brook, Long Island. She used to live down the street from my mom.
Stony Brook is where I first
North Shore, Long Island, about midway on the island.
No, I remember I played there with Steve Salerno.
That's right.
And then Steve Salerno one day, somehow we connected. I don't remember how it was. You came out to a show and then, hi Eileen. And then, let me think.
It
Stony
was
Brook,
a house show.
your parents would go see him perform. And then he and I did a gig, and you showed up at the gig. And then you guys figured out that you knew, he knew your parents. And then I got to meet your parents after that, which was really super cool. Eileen, hi, what's going on? Well, just so your friends know, we do this every day at 11:11 a.m. and 11:11 p.m. every day, 7 days, 7 nights, 14 times a week. And I already know that this is your first time here, but I really, 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 really don't want it to be your last. So we should just kind of plan on you coming back again soon. Stony Brook is the border of out east and way the fuck out east.
That's pretty accurate. That's pretty accurate.
Because where was it that I did that gig? Was it in a church?
No, it was somebody's private house, I
No,
thought.
not that one. The one
Oh yeah, that was a church or a meeting house or an old firehouse that had been converted, maybe.
Where was that? It had a cool name. It
Don't
was
know, East something, East Mauritius or East something. I have no idea.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was a nice gig.
So, what did you have for lunch today?
Oh God, I've been trying to eat better and I've been trying to cook for myself. Like last night, I had took some fish that I had sitting in the freezer and these canned, made this recipe I got off the Amazon Echo app. I'm like, Alexa, what's a recipe for such and such? And oh, now she's going to tell me. Hold on. Sorry, turn her off. But
Can you turn her on and off?
Yeah, I was just decided then after I made it and I put the sauce and things together and baked it in the oven. I'm like, I don't really like fillet fish that much. Like, unless it's fish and chips, I'm like, I'm more of a seafood, shrimp and lobster and oysters and clams and things like that, as opposed to fillet fish, unless it's like, really buttery fish like monkfish or stuff like that. So, but I've been eating more vegetables. I'm trying to stay away from the sugar, which is I have the world's worst sweet tooth. I mean, it's not a sweet tooth, it's sweet teeth.
Sweet teeth. Hey,
yes.
Sweet.
There's at least 5 of them and they make lots of demands.
What do you like?
I am like stupid about custard. I like custard and puddings and things.
Do you make them homemade?
Yeah. I make a mean creme brulee, I have to say.
Mama Grace, we love creme brulee.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, you're quite the baker, aren't you?
I have my moments. When I was in high school with Beth and Janice and Heather. Well, it was Heather's boyfriend at the time when we were in high school. We worked at the bakery down at the Three Village Inn, and it was the most absurd place. It was basically the Roberts family ran it, but I mean they hired all Ward Melville high school students, and Andy was a couple of years older than us, maybe like 2-3 years, and so it was his full-time job, but we were all part-time. And I mean, it was just we had like punk rock blaring out of the bakery, and it was just very bad behavior, but the work got done. We used to make these giant vats of bread, and the bread would rise and stuff, up and things. Instead of punching it down, we'd sit in it, and if it stuck to your pants, then you hadn't used enough flour. We were horrible.
Flour. Oh, it left an imprint of your jeans. More flour.
Well, then you push it down again, and then you cut it into balls for the bread that was go on all the tables. So
would you eat that bread today?
Probably, but
It sounds like it
But
might
the
have been
kitchen was
made
not,
with
the
a lot of love.
bakery was not the most cleanest place. And it wasn't that we didn't keep it clean. It was just, they could have used a pretty good exterminator. That's the point. But I think that's any restaurant. To be honest, I don't think I've ever worked in anything and anywhere that just didn't have some kind of problem with something that shouldn't be there or less than ideal. But that's the restaurant industry. And they say a little bit of questionable stuff is what keeps your immune system working. And if everything's sterile, then you don't have an immune system. So, it doesn't kill you, it's
So,
stronger. I don't
so you have a strong immune system.
know. I have an immune
Based on that,
system
based on that particular
an AR-15.
Bird Fab says, Sarah, didn't know you were on a show tonight. 1111 is the name of my debut album. The numbers have followed me. Oh, yeah, good. Yeah. Ooh, girl. Inappropriate life forms. Wow, Bird Fab. We need to definitely make this happen. So you never answered what you had for lunch today. Did you have more of the fish from last night?
No, I don't remember. Actually, what did I have? I couldn't tell you. I picked. We just kind of kept picking.
Remember I said I was going to make fish last night and then I decided to make it today? I made it tonight. It was horrible. It
Not
was
much better than mine, then, huh?
it was beautiful pieces of cod, but it was from a company that you can get stuff online. I don't even want to say who it's from, but anyway, it was so bad I threw it away. I don't throw away food. I'm always like, here, I'll make soup out of it, and here I'll do this with it, and I'll just I just put the rest of it, and I put it in a little thing. I felt like Julia Childs or Dan Aykroyd doing Julia. I wrapped it and then I wrapped it again because it's fish, and I just threw it away in the trash. I couldn't even throw it out to the animals.
Wow.
Yeah, I felt bad for anybody that would have eaten this fish. And I hadn't even cooked all of it. I cooked it and I went, this is terrible. I'm throwing the rest of it away.
Just didn't taste or smell right? Or
No,
was
it smelled fine. It was cod. It was just nothing. It just tasted like nothing. And I did everything, Anyway, that's that moment. So you have a cat.
I have two cats, a father and son. When my dad moved in with me years ago, I got two rescues, Max and his son Schrodinger, who I got from a rescue that's no longer in existence. The lady who ran it passed away. It was Magnificat. And, they called up Judith and my old roommate Lane and asked if I was, a decent cat parent. And I was. So I got Max and Schrody, and Max, I guess, is now 16 and Schrody's 15, and their father and son. And Max is the only cat I've ever owned that treats me like a servant. And like I always think of him as like the Pharaoh of Egypt. He's like, come, favorite slave girl, come, pet me. he's just pushy and difficult. And when he has a bad day, sometimes he goes and he beats up on his son. And I'm like, oh, so I have to separate them. But
Are they both right over there behind you?
Shorty's on the bed. He's a big, huge cat. He's about 16, 17 pounds, but Max is about 9. He's got intestinal issues and stuff. And poor guy. So he's hungry and he's skinny and he's got, poor guy's got issues. But he's a very happy cat otherwise, because he's got me stepping and fetching all day to help him, do what he wants, and feed him and pet him and brush him. And, if he needs a little bit of a bath, give him a little bit bath. He's very, very high maintenance. When after my parents passed, I think that he's like, ah, good, it's all about me now. I shall fill this space. Give me a moment. Yeah, he's very full of himself,
He's
you know.
filling up the space. Well, it's been you've had a year.
Yeah, I have had a year. So
So your parents.
yeah, October 26th, my mom passed, and 6 days later, she passed from pancreatic cancer, and 6 days later, my 96-year-old father passed with dementia. And I have to say, this is probably the worst year I've had. And then this summer, my uncle passed. So it's like my whole, immediate family was just gone. And I'm still reeling. It's been 2 months and I'm still reeling because
It's
it's just,
you're a baby
like
in it.
walking on, it's all of a sudden the ground isn't really there. It's, anymore. And it's, I went from like 4 people in the house, my parents and me, and Colleen, who was the most wonderful caregiver. She was fabulous. um and to nobody but Max and all his demands. So it's been a huge change. And and that was after 3 years of COVID, with just not going anywhere either. So it was just 24/7 in your face. And it's a big change. And I can't say that I'm adjusting that quickly. And everybody's like, oh, it's going to take a year. And I'm like, oh God, not a year of this. Grief is a really weird thing, because it's coming, but there's no way to prepare for it.
And everybody has a completely different timeline when it comes to grief. With my work in the death world, I've been with countless people, and I've seen it grief's an onion. It peel every layer. There's a layer and another layer and another layer, and
A
it's
lot of
gonna
crying.
and it's your parents.
Yeah,
That's a whole different conversation. But
yeah.
you've I've been talking to you. We've known each other a long time. I was trying to figure out how long it's been, but I don't know how long Beth has been
They
married.
just had a 20-year anniversary recently.
So it's been 20 years. So I've known you 20 years, and has it been 20? Billy, what was his name again? Billy? Yeah, I'm just
Billy.
kidding. Good people,
Sure.
really
Billy
good.
and Beth.
Yeah. Well, I don't even, it- you know, it's I don't even know what to say. Like I've been with my mom all of COVID, and I can't imagine her not here after that.
Yeah.
But I know it's gonna, one of these days, one of us isn't gonna be here. It's just the way it is. But
Mhm.
it's not for anyone to tell you, oh, Sarah, oh, you're still thinking about that, or you're still talking. I'd be like, later, later. You take as much time and talk about them as much and think about them as much and honor them, because they are who are, that's why you're here.
Mhm.
They chose you.
Yep.
That's
And
an amazing feeling.
I miss, it's funny because, I'll watch some videos of my dad dancing or doing something silly um from before. And it'll make me laugh and kind of cry at the same time. I'm like,
I
so
love that video of
a
him
little
singing.
bit two-faced. It's like you got two different emotions going full blast, and it's like, oh, this is going to wear me out. What a headache I've got coming. But no,
Every minute is different. Grief is like that. 1 minute's this, 20 seconds later, it's a whole other thing. And you have to allow that.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because my friend Bob and I used to talk about like the gas pump syndrome. You could be fine through, the death and the funeral and things, and all of a sudden you're, there sitting at the gas station pumping gas into your car and like, blah, just lose it. And somebody told me this story recently about, in talking about grief, that about a nun when they were in school. There was the nun was talking to the class, and she was saying, and my father, when my father died, and she just stopped and she just suddenly, burst into tears and said, "Excuse me," had to walk out the room. And she came back and she was like, "My father died 25 years ago, and I never cried, but suddenly it just hit me now." I'm like, damn. that's
Sometimes we
talk
help
about,
people cry.
yeah.
Sometimes they need that energy from other people in order to let it happen, I believe. But your mom, what a star she was.
Yep, my mom was a really interesting person. She was incredibly creative in her own right. Um, and she used to do like floral designs. She, she would have been, if my mother had been organized, she would have outdone Martha Stewart and made her look kind of like, Martha, it's nice that you're cleaning up your trailer, but Dion. But
Wow.
yeah, she really had an incredible sense of style and design, and it was pretty amazing. My mom was always kind of had to play second fiddle, really kind of my dad, but he was the first one to admit that she taught him about how to use color and how to look at color and think about it. So she had a very profound effect on his career. And
Where did they
hmm?
where did they meet and when?
They met, let's see, they've been married 64 years this year, or this past year. And there was a cartoonist named Scott Tabor, and he was his wife, Nancy, was friends with my mother, and Scott was friends with my father. And Nancy decided to bring George to meet Dion. Dion was in a play, 12 Angry Women, which was a takeoff on 12 Angry Men. And she played this older woman character. And my father sitting in the audience going, "Oh, she's too old for me." Oh, no, no. And then after he met her, and she was 11 years, 10 years younger than him, and he's like, "Oh, she's too young for me." But Nancy Tabor was the one who introduced my folks, and so they met when she was doing a play, because my mom did singing and acting and stuff too.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was so looking into making a record with a record company, the same one that like in 1950s that carried Dionne Warwick. And it's interesting because my mom looked like very much like a white version of Dionne Warwick. They looked a lot alike for some reason, and they both sang. They had a lot of interesting parallels happening.
There's
But
a Dionne Warwick. They just did a 2-hour documentary on CNN. You might
really,
want, yeah, you might want to watch it so you can go see your mom. I hear you. I get it. I
uh,
can see that.
uh,
Huh. The cat, what's his name again?
oh, Schrodinger or Schrody, yes.
Brody was just trying to get on, trying to zoom bomb the camera for a second there, but
Yeah,
you weren't showing any love.
yeah, he usually comes over to the side of my chair and sticks his claws into my leg and pulls himself up to standing. Is like, "Hi."
Here. So
um,
so about the record label, the deal, what happened?
I don't know. She said it was a really kind of a sketchy company,
Really? Music business sketchy. I can't even imagine.
and she ended up not doing it, or nothing. It never came to fruition or whatever. I don't know what the whole story is, or I've forgotten over the years. But um, she used to do a lot of singing with my uncle,
Mhm.
and because he was a violinist as well as a pianist, and did dinner theaters and chamber concerts and was really things. So she did a lot of that when I
Yeah.
was.
I remember talking to her about that.
Yeah.
So I did what you did. I did what you do. I get it. And your dad. I have go ahead. I could sit here and talk about your dad for hours, and it's you that I want to talk about, but for the people that are here that don't know who your father was, please enlighten.
So my father was a cartoonist since he was 3 years old. He started drawing sitting at the table with my grandmother. And he was with the New Yorker from 1968 through recently. And he only stopped really working about 3 years, 3 years ago. But he was working up till then. The dementia got too bad, and some of it was from, a bad hospital stay. And, you know, but he would have worked up until the last minute if he could, but his last hospital stay robbed him of his ability to draw. And I think that was the hardest as a daughter, seeing him lose that part of him, which was, he drew because it was for him, it was like breathing or eating. And it was just so important to him, and but I have to say, as horrible as dementia is, it's the capacity of what the human brain does and can do is just incredible. And it made me really want to learn a lot more about how the brain works after this experience. Not that I want to learn any more about dementia. I think I'm good.
I mentioned the one book to you, um, and it's by Jill Bolte Taylor. And she has a TED Talk that you can also check out if you just Google Jill Bolte Taylor TED Talk. But her book, the first book that she did, is called My Stroke of Insight. And she is a neuroscientist and psychologist, and had a stroke. I met her. I specifically went to a conference to meet her soon after my brother Nino had had his surgery and then had the stroke. And I wanted to talk to her. I went right up to her and we talked, and we've since become friends. But yeah, I would highly suggest, if you want to learn just a little bit about the brain, My Stroke of Insight, Jill Bolte Taylor, and listen to her TED Talk. It's quite inspiring, and you probably will, when you're reading or watching her, you're going to sit there and go, yep, 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 yeah. Well, your dad, so when he died, and in that week, I'm sure you're still finding out, it was everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea. I thought my dad was known kind of the way, like maybe a local, the local weather girl was known, the New York people would know, but I mean, it was like everywhere. People would, I mean, I didn't see or read, you know,
Yeah.
half of what there was out there, but I was really shocked because I mean, I never thought of him as anything else other than my dad, and didn't occur to me. I remember I got in when I was in, I guess it was seventh or eighth grade, and I was at the school I was going to. They had this thing about walking across the grass. They would get really uptight. I'm like, it's grass, it's supposed to be walked on. Anyway, because I was a snot-faced little kid, I walked all across the
Oh, they
grass.
wanted you to walk on the path and not
Yeah, and
the
the gym
sidewalk.
teacher like yelled at me. He's just like, he goes, get off the grass. I don't care who your father is. I'm like, my father? What does my father have to do with it? He's not the one idiot walking on the grass. It's me. I'm like, there's something wrong with this dude.
The gym teacher loved your father.
I guess so, but it just, I was just like, I still so flummoxed. I'm like, what does my dad have to do with it? He's just the, one who sent me to school here.
Right.
So, but I just never thought of it really.
So how did you get into, I mean, you're an artist. Your parents were both artists. Was it was it supported? Was it stressed? Was it
I was supported, my dad would give me a piece of paper and I'd sit and draw next to him while he was working, or, we'd go to restaurant, I'd draw on the menu, he'd draw on the menu.
you
Just
know, that's my one thing that I wish. There are two things. I wish I could play guitar, and I wish I could draw on a cocktail napkin. Both of them will go with me in my soul. I just think that is the people go, oh, but I wish I could sing. I go, oh, but if I could draw a little character on a cocktail napkin, I would be so happy in life. And you grew up doing that.
no. Yeah, so I never
I
got serious with it, but he went to art school uh after World War II, and on the GI Bill, and after Korea, and both in Chicago, Washington D.C., and New York, when School of Visual Arts was School of art school, arts
That
and
my friend
design,
Elliot.
or cartooning and something. It had a different name before it became School of Visual Arts, or
Okay.
SVA. So
And did you guys ever make a book together, a story together, or characters?
um no, not really. Although I did do um I did like some kind of doodle design or something that my dad took and incorporated into one of his covers, but it was never printed. So, but he did pick that up. I stuffed some of his I once or twice I put silhouetted out a couple of his characters and put them on photographs. you know um
Oh, cool.
never really did much with it. I don't know why, but it just, I was more into the photography thing, and at that point I was just too easily distracted, I guess.
When did you get your first camera?
High school. When I was in high school, I took a photography class. Warren Melville was a really great school back in the day. It was a public school and it had a fabulous art program. And I remember, you know, years after I went, the budget, I guess it didn't have it. They were losing it. And I remember my dad talking about going up and um, to, I guess, one of the meetings or something to try to keep the arts program at the school because it was so important. But I had a teacher, Mr. Messina, Richard Messina, um, who was a photography teacher at Ward Melville, and he was fabulous. He was really great. And my friend Heather and Ellen and Beth, they were all really into it too. We spent our free periods in the dark room,
Were
and
you on the yearbook staff?
no, no, no.
No,
We were
no,
too
no.
artsy fartsy. We did not have school spirit. We were pretty terrible. Um, no, I should have been, that would have made sense. But I'm flagrantly disorganized. I'm very, very disorganized. Um, take after my parents and that. I'm sort of all over the place.
Well, I'm your sister right here. I get it. I totally get it.
Organized, it would be a miracle. So,
Do you have any small plans for the weekend?
I am going up to see some people tomorrow. And for lunch up in Connecticut. And
What are you driving these days?
I still have the world's most stupid car for New York.
Oh, you still have that cool car?
I have a 370Z, a 2011 370Z. I love it. It's a great car, but it couldn't be more impractical. I
It's not
couldn't
a New York car.
think.
It's a Manhattan car if you have a
It's a place that you have a garage
yeah.
and you have another car that you use to like for real life. And the funny thing was watching my 6'3" father fold himself up to get in this tiny little Japanese car with a cockpit, and these tiny little, seats that sort of hold you in the seat. And he would have to like fold up and getting him in and out was just ridiculous. And but we get in and I'd kind of blare like Jim Croce,
Oh,
Leroy Brown, and Rapid Roy, the stock car boy, and stuff like that. And he'd just have a great old time. He'd be like, "You're a good driver. Who taught you to drive?" I'm like, "You did." He's like, "That's wonderful."
wow.
It was, but no, I was a little bit. Nobody would drive with me when I was young. I was a little wild, and but
But
those.
you've always had not the most practical cars, if I remember
Oh
correctly.
God, no, I've never. I don't. Yeah.
But you know how to work on them.
A little bit, not as much as I'd like to. And now everything is computers, but I loved my 79 Alpha because if I broke down on the side of the road, I had a trunk full of tools that I had to use to get in order to get home. And there was more than one occasion where I'm on the side of the highway in the middle of the night working on my car to try to get to where I'm going. But
I
I loved
remember
that
you
car.
offering me a ride to the airport once, and
Yeah.
you said there we should probably leave a little early just in case I have to pull over and work on my car. And I thought, should I take this ride or yeah, yeah, sure, we'll get there, no problem.
I took that car to New Orleans and back. It was a lot of fun, and I loved it. It
How
was
long did you live in New Orleans?
12 years altogether, and it's I think of it more as home because it's such a great place. It's I love it.
I'm glad that we've been able to spend time there together.
Yeah, I really miss down there. And the thing is, I keep trying to decide, if I ever manage to be able to retire, where would I go? Would I stay in New York? Would I go to New Orleans? Would I go out west? What would I do?
Do you get to retire? Do you think you'll
I
retire?
don't I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know that concept. Tell me more, please.
Yeah, I have a feeling I'm just gonna, die at my desk, get this old withered, crone at her desk. Um, but I don't know if I want to go through um, a storm of the century every 20 years,
Yeah.
another Katrina and every few years. Yeah, and have every time hurricane season comes around being like, is it gonna hit? Is this gonna be the year? Is my house structurally sound?
That's
Um,
what's happening in the Bay Area right now. There's this crazy Pineapple Express bomb cyclone rainstorm that hasn't happened in 100. I mean, it's rained there since when I've been there, but this is supposedly more rain in San Francisco than there's been since in 150 years, something crazy like that. I don't even know. But and it's totally chill here. It's fine in New York right now too, right?
yeah, although I've experienced a earthquake in New York. I remember being in my apartment and the whole ground started moving, and I was on the bottom floor of a apartment building, and I'm like, damn.
Mm.
This was shortly after 9/11, and I'm like, oh, I hope something else didn't fall, and this is what that or blow up. But it was 1 in the morning, and I'm like, whatever it is, it's gonna wait till tomorrow.
And you're here to talk about it. So
Yeah.
you is this where you work? Are you in your office right now?
Well, it's my office slash bedroom
Right,
slash.
but this is where you do all your work for the New York Times.
Yep, yep. And it's a when we took this apartment, uh, I didn't realize this room had no closet. It's got a little balcony, but which
Oh,
is
nice.
fabulous, but
Just no
got no
closet.
closet. I'm like, where do I put my clothes? And it's the smaller of the two rooms. So I was like, I wasn't going to put my parents in this small room, but there's two of them, and but it's never organized or neat. It's just my chair is
I need to come and organize for you.
blocking things right now. So
I need to come over there and give me like a week there and I'll just go crazy and get it all. I love
oh,
doing that. I
I,
love it.
I I would be thrilled.
Oh,
I
I
would be
love it.
so thrilled. My dream is to have somebody who's extremely OCD who wants to reorganize my whole life. It'd be like, boy, have I got a job for you.
I'm not OCD and I have my own ADD tendencies, but I really enjoy organizing other people's stuff. And I love to style it. I think one of those things I would have liked to if I would have stayed in New York and gone there younger and wasn't just doing the music thing, I would have liked to have designed windows.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm not even like people say, you mean like sets? I go, no, music or windows or designing. I had a friend that used to design for Crate and Barrel and other stores, Marshall Fields in Chicago, and just design the actual, like if you walked around in my house, it's like little vignettes everywhere, little altars everywhere. But I would love to come there and do that for you. It would be a blast.
Oh,
Just know you have cool stuff and
so happy.
yeah. Well, we'll make that happen. So you're going to Connecticut tomorrow for lunch.
Yes. Yep.
Is this friends, family?
Family and I haven't seen in a while because it's just, this
Yeah.
been
Other
so
stuff
crazy.
going on.
And yeah, and so we're making an effort. We were supposed to go to somebody's uh their mom's Christmas party, but somebody had a bad cold, so we're rescheduling. But we just decided to do lunch, so there's not so much time in between. And I've got to do better at seeing people. And there's a list of people I'd love to go visit now. I've got all these other obligations that came with the free time, but at least I can do some traveling. And there's just so many places I'd like to go and people I'd like to see. And
Well, be careful doing all that.
driving my ridiculously stupid car that, I mean, out of all the things I've done, jumping out of airplanes, you know, jumping over 5 foot fences with horses and, doing puissance classes, or scuba diving or taking a car on a racetrack. The scariest thing I ever done is driving this car in the snow. It has, the car, I didn't put them on there. Um, it has low profile tires on it, and it's rear wheel drive, and it is more swishy than a chorus line. It is all over the place.
Swish, swish.
Swish everywhere, swish everywhere, swish. And I'm like, I had to drive back from Long Island across the Throgs Neck Bridge back to City Island in the Bronx. It took me an hour and a half to go, which was basically a half-hour journey. I got there. I was shaking for an hour and a half. It took 3 scotches before I calmed down. I was like, that was the scariest thing I've ever done, and the adrenaline is just going to blow my eyes out in a minute. So I just hit the scotch. It took me.
I'm not a lover of the snow, the driving in the snow either. No.
I love it with a 4-wheel drive pickup truck,
No.
which I've owned. And all this, I was like, why did I buy this stupid car? I know I'm having another midlife crisis, but Jesus, better decisions, please, people.
Well,
You
so
know,
your next car, you'll figure it out. There's so many things I want to talk to you about, but I don't want to. It's already midnight. and I don't want to keep you, but will you come back?
Sure.
Because I want to talk about what you do. I want to talk about the other things that you do. You're the total renaissance friend. But I want to tell you one friend of mine who's a, a comic artist of the R. Crumb. He studied under R. Crumb or was a in like Abby mentor. R. Crumb mentored him. I mentioned that you were going to be on tonight and who your father was, and I asked if you knew him, and he said, "Oh man, it's the first Friday art walk. Does it have to be tonight? I'm going to miss it. I'm so bummed. I can't believe it. Big fan of. I'm a huge fan. Darn it." So I wanted to get you on here because I've been wanting to get you on here for almost 3 years, and now you're here, and I want you to come back.
Well,
So
thank
it's
you.
easy, right? It's fun, right? It's cool.
Yeah, because I
Work.
feel like I'm just talking to you. I can only see you, and I'm, even though because I tend to overthink everything. For somebody who's kind of idiotic half the time, I'm way and a ham. I'm also way too cerebral, and I overthink everything, and so I get like stuck in this like loop of being like, nervous loop, and it's like,
Well, that's kind of why I got on later than I planned on it too, because I didn't want to overthink it with you. But this is what we do. So please come back
I will.
because it is just so you know, it's just us, and then there's 5 or 6 people that have been watching, up to 9 or 10. But then my friend William D magically picks them up and places all of them on YouTube. So
That's
So
great.
5 years from now, I might go back and go, "Oh, that was the first time Sarah was on. How cool is that?"
Well, thank you
I
so much
love you.
for having me.
I'm honored that you're here, and we haven't even talked about how we met, and there's all kinds to talk about. So let's plan another day.
All right.
All right? Are you going back to work, or are you done for the night?
Nope, nope. I'm just gonna pack it in and try to go to bed, and because I've not been sleeping.
I'm gonna say, really, you are? That's so awesome. What's that
I,
like?
usually it's like I don't used never used to go to bed until about 2 a.m. because having worked till 1 a.m. and then it took me an hour and a half or 2 hours to get home. I was used to staying up late, but now it's just like I've been listening to my dad breathing loudly. My mother said I had bat ears, but used to his like noises and moving around or whatever. And it's just too damn quiet. And I cannot sleep for more than a half an hour without waking up and being like, I'm awake again, I'm awake again, So try listening to stuff, but as soon as it goes off, then I wake up. I'm like, okay, great. But if it plays too long, then I'm like, what's this crap still going on?
Why are they still talking over there? What are they? What?
Enough of that, so.
It's hard to find those whatever it is that you listen to without ads, or
Mhm.
they're too short, or they're too. I get that same thing, the too long, and then I hear them. I go, oh, turn it off. I have a sound machine. You hear my crickets?
Mhm.
That's my sound machine. I love it.
Yep, I have one that they do this play the snow sounds, but I was listening to it today for a little while.
No
Like
sounds.
it just sounds like, talk about, because I'm alone in the house and it's like it's without this barren wastelands of snow across the things. I'm like, this is a little too isolating. like,
I'm in the tundra all alone.
I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm in like a bad B movie and like something's gonna come out of the snow or something.
That's good. Well,
Ah.
that's why I go with the crickets, or sometimes I go with the creek. There's crickets and creek and a fan sound. I was never a fan person. Now I get it. I have friends that literally they travel with fans. They come to my house with carrying a fan, and I go, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I have to have a fan." I have guys in bands that I play with that have to have fans. It's a very interesting, but now I understand the sound of the fan. Definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, I'm not really comfortable living anywhere without a ceiling fan.
Oh, really? You have to. Oh, see, you have a ceiling fan there.
Not in this place, no, and I can't
Don't they
get one.
make you dizzy? They make me dizzy.
Well, I don't know. I just don't watch them that much, I guess. But just
Oh,
having them going on and circulating the air, I guess it's laid over from New Orleans. It's
I was
just
gonna
you
say,
had to
girl,
have
you
the
lived in
air
the South.
moving or you
Yeah,
die.
yeah. It's good to have a fan down there. I'm always used to when I would be in New Orleans for the the months that I've been there at a time. I still was going out a lot and staying up late, and so I would just try to sit there and hypnotize myself with the fan. But yeah, I can't do the fan thing.
It makes you dizzy, huh?
Yeah,
Oh
now I'm getting vertigo just thinking about it.
dear.
But I love you. I'm so happy. Oh, we'll leave right on this. It's 12:12. How's that?
All right.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Sarah Booth, everybody, standing ovation.
I
See you again.